So we was stuck in the car for like a few hours, right? And then we went to Mobile and we checked into this motel. Turns out the motel said, we leaving y'all. We woke up and the lights was out and there was a big old storm happening. So then we ended up going by because she was also in Alabama. And from there, we either slept there or we left. I don't remember.
No, because the house had roaches in it. We have to say the full name.
I ain't saying my full name.
Wait. My name is Olivia.
And I'm Whitney.
And we resided in Holly Grove during Katrina. So our grandparents moved here around the 50s and 60s, and we've been here ever since. However, our family has deep roots in New Orleans and Louisiana for several generations.
What do I remember about evacuating? Well, it was very last minute, and they was talking on the news, and it was like, everybody got to get out. So we did. And we packed maybe 7 days worth of clothes and was stuck in traffic forever. And 7 days turned into what, 5 months?
I remember Mom said, pick your clothes out, but we didn't really pick the clothes out because then she double checked. But a small voice in my head said, take a good look at the house. But I didn't know why. And then once we evacuated, that was it. We were in a lot of traffic, and I remember that the traffic was hours and hours and hours and hours.
So what we started to do was write from our spiral notebook, are you evacuating? And the question was obvious, but we said, honk if you're evacuating. And we went like this to the car window because we ain't had nothing else to do. And they said, burn. We said, yeah, got it.
I remember they had the lady, and she was like, and she went, and I went, ah!
And we never saw her again. There was no zoom because we was all stuck in traffic.
Oh.
So we was stuck in the car for like a few hours, right? And then we went to Mobile and we checked into this motel. Turns out the motel said, we leaving y'all. And we woke up and the lights was out and there was a big old storm happening. So then we ended up going by because she was also in Alabama. And from there, I think we maybe slept there. We either slept there or we left. I don't remember.
No, because the house had roaches in it.
My toys!
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought about because, I didn't have no bills at the time, so I was thinking of my toys.
We was living our lives.
Yeah,
we were kids with no bills.
It was a vacation. Every hurricane was a vacation because usually they'll have a hurricane and then we'll just go back to school. But during that hurricane, it was a literal vacation. And you're a kid, so you don't really have any responsibilities. I was upset, but I didn't feel the burdens or the hurt because all I really cared about was my toys. I probably would have cared about other stuff, but we had such a big community back then that I did not feel the external pressure of Katrina.
In my brain, I was like, ooh. So
this is crazy. Yeah.
So we going back or?
And then you have to think about it. We were kids, our brains didn't know the magnitude of it. So, when it comes down to feelings, we can only feel so much of what we know at the time.
After they was talking about the water rising on the news, then they said that the water was it was at not a standstill or something like that, but it was houses were being damaged. This is before the levees broke or after? This is after the levees broke. It's after the levees broke that the flooding was really bad. And we got up to if you're standing on the porch, it was
it was 8 feet of water.
It was 3 feet going into the house. But that's standing on the porch.
It was 3 to 5. It was around 3 to 5.
It was around 6 feet.
Because the house was on a slant. So some of it was 3 feet, but some of it was a little bit higher. Spiky was our dog, but
he was my homie.
They had another dog that looked very similar to him, and the dog was 16 years old. And I remember she would just have that dog and be like, oh, we've been through everything together. He was born in such and such. I remember when it was a boy who was around my age and he taught me how to swim, but halfway swim. So he told me how to swim not like stagnant, but like moving swim. But he didn't show me everything.
Olivia, do you know how to swim now?
I know how to swim enough.
We went from Mobile to Jackson to Carbondale, Illinois, where we stayed for like 5-ish months before we came back in January. And we were in Carbondale because Sabrina went to SIU. Salukis, our sister, Sabrina, the eldest, she would love to hear. She was up in Carbondale, and we ended up staying in a trailer park where they had a 3-legged deer, and it was like $1 a month because we were
They provided a lot for us.
And we did get a little spoiled.
And yeah, I mean, we went there, and then we also went to Catholic school.
And I pushed for public school. I've always wanted to just go to public school.
Mom didn't want to do that because we've been in Catholic school all our lives, so they wanted to continue that.
And I knew we was gonna end up
Whitney,
coming back.
You keep talking over me like.
We went to
We
St.
was
Andrews.
the only black people there. We
were
like
not the only black people there.
It was like 5 black people, and
What was this? Femi?
I was the only black person in my class. The only black person, but it was more so white people than black, but it was only 5 black people.
We were in Southern Illinois, and now I know that's a thing. I didn't know until I got older that yeah, it's more Caucasian than anything else. Yeah, it wasn't like a big city, it was a small city. But it was still cute, Steak and Shake. But yeah, we were at St. Andrews, and actually I liked it until I was kind of ready to go.
They did have like a lot of snow, which we don't have here in New Orleans. Another thing that is different is the curriculum. I remember being in 4th grade and I was being taught things that if I were to stay down here in New Orleans, they wouldn't teach until like 8th grade, maybe high school. Like the curriculum there was extremely advanced than in New Orleans. How I was treated, I
got 3 birthday parties.
Yeah, like I don't have bad experiences.
She had 3 birthday parties. We were treated very well by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And to the point where we didn't want to go home. Shout out to Mike, Chanel, Chase, Dominique.
We were always in the newspaper because the newspaper was popular back then. And
It still is. It's just online.
But I mean,
the one thing I will say, and I'm gonna just say this much. I remember when I started getting tired of it, but I wasn't really tired of it. I was just tired of dealing with kids. Because one of the kids, I remember we was playing volleyball or basketball. I think it was basketball. And like there was a JV team and the varsity team or whatever, right? And pretty sure I was on the JV team. And while the varsity team was playing, I went with my friends and we started playing outside or whatever, and one of the kids was like, why don't you just go back home? And I was like, what did I do? I'm trying to play tag? You don't want me to tag you? Is it because I'm black?
Some of the kids were mean.
Forrest, right?
I would say
I'll never forget, because I was just like, why did he say that?
Some of the kids were mean, and I remember sometimes, they were mean to me, but I would say overall, the experience overall was okay. That small little, segment didn't tarnish my entire viewpoint of the whole experience.
When we went back to New Orleans the first time, I remember us riding around and I didn't know where we were. I was like, what street are we on? I remember half of where we were. That was my directions went out. They were gone.
It's weird because when I left and then came back, it looked the same, but it felt empty. Like you saw the houses. It wasn't like a tornado hit. Like a lot of the houses were still up, but it just felt empty. That's how I could only describe it.
When we moved back first, we went and stayed by our grandma on the West Bank. We stayed by Boo Boo on the West Bank until we had trailers and we didn't get the trailers until almost the summer. So we were on the West Bank, going from the West Bank, because school, we went to St. Anthony of Padua, SAS all the way. You know what I'm saying? We went there, and they opened back up, which is another reason why we moved back. They were opening up this for the school year. So we stayed by Boo Boo on the West Bank. I had to go from the West Bank to the East Bank every day. And the traffic was so terrible because I feel like a lot of people were staying on the West Bank because a lot of people were still waiting on trailers, or they were just staying over there until they could get their house together, those that came back. And when we moved into the trailers, it was small.
It wasn't like the Illinois trailers. The Illinois trailers were very much so decent, clean, and polished. The FEMA trailers were nasty. I mean, they were okay, but they had like nothing but rats.
The rats were more so in the mobile home, not the trailer. Because when we got in the mobile home, we thought we had it. It looked like a mini house.
So if I were to change something, I would change all of the countless lives that were lost during Katrina.
We should have had more boats. And people, black people need to learn how to swim. I don't know much about the politicians and all that back then besides Ray Nagin. But whoever thought about like changing the city afterward and taking away the culture that was there before, I would change it to where those people wouldn't have had the power to do so afterwards. Rebuilding is one thing. Displacing people from their homes is another. I brought my journal. I took it with me. This is one of the things I took with me when we left for Katrina because like many of my journals, it's not full. I never filled the rest of it out. I don't know if I will because I've had it this long.
My biggest wealth was my Brat doll collection. When I left for Katrina, I had about 3 Brat dolls. And by me having 3 birthday parties and me living in Illinois, I collected all these Brat dolls. Hold on. They're all in here. They're kind of raggedy, but this is my Brat dolls. Brat dolls were really popular at the time, so I just thought the more Brat dolls, like the more cooler you were. So I just collected them during the time of me being in Illinois, and then get my American Girl doll.
Look, toss it.
You just toss it. Now I brought this with me. I brought this with me during Katrina, and she a little raggedy too because she's real old. I believe she's like a sailor. I don't know, but I've had her since I was 7 years old. And I brought this during Katrina because she was very valuable to me.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Molly?
People said that we looked alike. Can you see it? We look alike. This is a lot of Brad dolls. I think, like, I remember.
That's a cute outfit.
It's a lot of them.
She got one earring.
I've never opened this up in years, but they really meant a lot to me. Oh, this is the one.
I remember him. Look at that outfit.
Are we gonna look at it before you post it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh wait, look! I got a map of the home.